Hello, this is another game from Simon Tatham's portable puzzle collection. This game is called Rectangles. I'll have information on how to get that puzzle collection and how to play this particular game under the video. And this game, you have a grid and a bunch of numbers, and these numbers tell you the size of the rectangle they're in. So you have to create rectangles that contain exactly that number of spots. And each rectangle will contain only one numbered square. So, as usual, we want to look for cases that are certain before we branch out then to cases that are uncertain. This says, well, actually, what I like to do first is anytime you have these cells that are right next to each other, you know that there has to be a rectangle border between them. So I will go ahead and I'll add borders between these cells that have numbers. This cell 2 has to be either a 2x1 rectangle one way or the other, and obviously it can't be down, so it has to be this way. And you can see it fills in that rectangle. This one right now is uncertain. It could be 2x1 to the right or 2x1 going down. Similarly, this one is uncertain. It could be 2x1 in any direction. And similarly, this could be 3x1 here, if this is a 2x1 going that way, or it could be 3x1 going down. And similarly, this is uncertain. So let's look for some that are more certain. This 6, it could be a 6x1, but since it's not a prime number, it could also be 2x3. For example, it could be 2x3 this way, that would work. It could be 2x3 that way, that would work. It's sometimes interesting to go after the ones with prime numbers, like this 5. It's going to be awkward to fit that in because it's got to be 5x1 somehow, and it can't be up and down because it'll run into that 6, and you can't have that 6 contained in the 5x1's rectangle. So actually the only way is for it to be in this row, and we can see that it just fits nicely in between that 2 and the 3, so this is the only possibility. And now immediately some other things fall into place. For example, now this can't be 2x1 going to the right, it has to be a 2x1 going down. This is still uncertain. This is still uncertain. This 3 is currently uncertain. It could be a 3x1 going this way, or it could be a 3x1 just going directly down from it. But as I look up here, this 5x1 is certain, so I can fill that in, and now it resolves the ambiguity here. So now this 3x1 has to go down. And we've had a nice little run. Now let's see if that clarifies anything else. This has got to be a 3x1 and it can't go down. That'll run into this 2, so it has to be a 3x1 going to the left. And now we have this 4. 4 is obviously not a prime number, so it could be either 4x1 or 2x2. So before we made this rectangle, it certainly could have been a 2x2 rectangle here, but now it has to be a 4x1 going not up, because that would hit this 6, but instead to the right. So I'm going to fill that in. And now this 2x1 here is certain, so I'm going to fill that in. And this 3x1, this has to be filled in somehow. So the 3x1 has to come from here and be shaped like this. This cell has to be filled in somehow, and the only way to get to it is from this rectangle, so it has to be filled in that way. This 2 can only have a 2x1 rectangle going this way, because it can't go up, it'll hit that 3. This, if I look at this rectangle, if I look at this cell, I might think that it's uncertain because it could go either right or down. But if I look at this rectangle and I think, well, how can any rectangle reach here? I realize the only way that a rectangle could reach here is coming down from this 3. So this is actually certain as well. And I think the biggest question here is, where can I fit the 6? This 2 could go either way in theory. This 2 could go either way. This 3 could either be sideways or up and down, but I still have to fit the 6 in. And there's really only one way to do that. This is the only way that that 6 can fit in. And now everything else will fall into place. This 2 has to be this way, this 3x1 has to be that way. So I can just click here, and it's all done. So that is kind of a neat little game. Some of the games are quite easy, and I might even think that they're too easy, but some of them are a little bit trickier and require a little bit more thought. And of course, if you ever think it's too easy, then you can consider making it bigger, and it could go, it can be perhaps difficult, more difficult in that case. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you.